mysterious lights seen hovering over our coastline have people wondering yet again, what could they be?
Are those the only videos that the government has? He said no.
We prefer to consider technological innovation as a slow, steady, and somewhat linear process. However, this is not always the case. Archaeological digs across the world have revealed that ancient civilizations occasionally developed technologies that were decades, if not centuries, ahead of their time. It is frequently claimed that these technologies compete with or outperform current science. This too is a misinterpretation. Many historical super technologies, from Roman concrete to Damascus steel, were previously forgotten but have since been reconstructed by modern researchers. Any difficulty in duplicating them is usually due to a lack of original instructions rather than an inability to grasp the idea itself. It is also incorrect to believe that ancient civilizations discovered these technologies by chance, or that they were created by eccentric geniuses who were not representative of their time and place. Despite the fact that many inventors were regarded geniuses, they cannot and should not be isolated from their surroundings. Their work is not retrograde, but rather a monument to their civilization's intelligence and scientific capability. But now we're going to talk about a new part that doesn't appear to be from our planet at all, but rather some type of alien technology. What exactly is this item? And why are scientists and experts still baffled by it? Stay with us until the end, because this one is quite shocking. Before we get into the specifics, you're probably wondering what a new part is. A new part, out-of-place artifact, is a name used to describe dozens of prehistoric artifacts discovered in various locations throughout the world that, due to their degree of sophistication, contradict their calculated age based on physical, chemical, and/or geological data. UPARTs are frequently challenging to traditional scientists while being a thrill to adventurous explorers and those interested in alternative scientific theories. The Ural Mountains are very ancient mountains that reach from Russia's north to Russia's south. It divides Russia into two parts, Europe and Asia. People who live in the Ural Mountains have reported odd events in the air and on the ground. Dozens of tourists to the Ural Mountains have claimed bizarre sightings of fireballs and cigar-shaped objects. But what has been discovered in the soil here is much weirder. In the intention of finding gold riches, researchers undertook an expedition into the mineral-rich Urals in 1991. The scientists uncovered something surprising while excavating along the Kozum, Narada, and Balbanyu rivers, 600 kilometers north of Arkham. They discovered a scattering of small metal coils and springs at depths of more than 30 feet. That soil had been undisturbed for hundreds of thousands or more years. The area where it was found was probably tens of kilometers around. It's as if something exploded thousands of years ago, scattering bits all over the region. The discovery of incredibly small coil-shaped artifacts near the banks of Russia's Kozum, Narada, and Balbanyu rivers sparked a debate that has lasted to this day. These enigmatic and microscopic structures imply that a civilization capable of generating nanotechnology existed 300,000 years ago. These items include coils, spirals, shafts, and other unidentifiable components. According to a Russian Academy of Sciences examination in Sitkavar, the largest bits discovered are largely copper, while the smallest are tungsten and molybdenum. When you look down at them in a microscope, they're extremely regular in their structure, stated expert David Wilcock. They're very nice coils. The only way we could make them even now is with machine-guided technology. You could not do this by hand. What we're seeing here is proof that someone had advanced technologies sufficient to build the type of circuitry that we normally only see in semiconductors, computer chips, high-technology equipment using metals that are not commonly known. So these spirals are clear evidence that someone had a very advanced civilization right here on Earth near Arkham. While the largest of these artifacts is 1.18 inches in length, the smallest is only 1/10,000th of an inch in length, and many have golden mean dimensions. The pieces were discovered at a depth of 10 to 40 feet in a geological stratus 20,000 to 318,000 years old. Their shape shows that they are produced rather than naturally occurring metal fragments. In fact, they have been discovered to substantially match the same microscopic components of modern nanotechnology. Though some have claimed that these small objects are simply debris from test rockets fired from neighbouring Plesetsk space station, Moscow Institute research revealed that they are far too old to have come from modern manufacturing. Dr. E.W. Matveeva of the Central Scientific Research Department of Geology and Exploitation of Precious Metals in Moscow writes in 1996 that the components, while being thousands of years old, are of technological origin. How did ancient humans make such minute parts, and what did they do with them? Some believe the coils show that the human species had advanced technology during the Pleistocene period, while others believe the artifacts are the creation of extraterrestrials. The items were examined at 4 different research centres in Helsinki, St. Petersburg and Moscow. However, further research into these microscopic structures appears to have halted in 1999 with the death of Dr. Johannes Feibag, the discovery's primary researcher. According to Dr. Valery Uvarov of St. Petersburg's idea, these nanostructures are essentially the components of a vast transmitting and receiving antenna. If this theory is established, we can consider the existence of extraterrestrial intelligences as proven, because it is scientifically impossible for our predecessors to have created such objects 100,000 years ago. That is to say, remember, at a time when the Neanderthal man had not yet died. Skeptics contended from the beginning that the measurements had been manipulated with, or that the entire discovery was a fabrication. Other artifacts of the same sort were eventually unearthed along the Kozum and Balbanyu rivers, but the myth of mystification persists. However, the investigation of these new structures has been transferred to other laboratories, which have produced similar results. As a result, nanospirals appear to suggest the presence of extraterrestrial intelligences. Is this strange discovery proof that humans were more technologically advanced than previously thought? Or are the artifacts proof of extraterrestrial contact or presence? Let's have a look at some notable alien encounters that may persuade you that aliens exist. Few instances in American UFO history have sparked as much fascination and speculation as the one in Roswell, New Mexico. It all started in the summer of 1947 at the start of the Cold War, when the United States Army Air Forces issued a shocking press release proclaiming the recovery of a flying disc on a ranch near Roswell. More than 70 years later, the incident continues to define the area's identity. The town has a UFO museum and research centre, a flying saucer-themed McDonald's, alien-themed streetlights, and even an extraterrestrial family stranded in a broken-down UFO on the side of State Route 285 looking for a jump start. But there is an unsettling truth lurking underneath all of the UFO craze. The events of that summer were anything but clear-cut, with admitted cover-ups and contradictory explanations. It was actually a saucer. It was a spy plane. It was the Russians. The Roswell Daily Record then published an article about the crash and the RAAF's incredible claim. However, US Army officials swiftly retracted their flying saucer claim, insisting that the discovered wreckage was actually from a weather balloon and releasing images showing Major Marcel posing with fragments of the alleged weather balloon debris as confirmation. For decades, many UFO researchers remained skeptical of the government's revised version, and in 1994, the US Air Force issued a study admitting that the weather balloon story had been fabricated. Similarly, on the afternoon of June 24, 1947, amateur aviator Kenneth Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier, Washington, when he noticed 9 odd objects on the horizon. Arnold stated the plane flitted from side to side and flipped in tandem like the tail of a Chinese kite, and he calculated they were travelling at approximately 1,700 miles per hour, far faster than any known aircraft. He suspected the physics-defying objects were secret military vehicles at first, but subsequently conceded the experience was as much a mystery to me as it is to everyone else. Arnold's incredible account quickly made its way around the country, and reporters latched on his description of the objects moving like a saucer if you skip it across water. Within days, the term flying saucer was born. Arnold's encounter, when combined with the famous July 1947 incident at Roswell, New Mexico, in which the Air Force claimed a military weather balloon was mistaken for an alien spaceship, helped ignite a wave of flying saucer sightings across the United States. Most of these close encounters were dismissed by the military as misidentifications or hokum, but a few reports came from air traffic controllers and commercial pilots, people trained to examine the sky with a keen eye. The frenzy coincided with the outbreak of the Cold War, prompting many to think that the inexplicable sightings were caused by hostile Soviet aircraft. Following an official Air Force investigation, Lieutenant General Nathan Twining issued a memo in late 1947 declaring the flying disc phenomena as real and not visionary or fictitious. He proposed that the military investigate the origins of the sightings. By 1948, the Air Force had launched Project Sign, the first of 3 military agencies responsible with gathering and evaluating unidentified flying object data. The investigators of Project Sign swiftly concluded that UFOs were not coming from behind the Soviet curtain. Their flight characteristics just did not match those of any man-made aircraft, but some on the crew may have accepted the notion that UFOs were not of this planet. According to Air Force officer Edward Ruppelt and others who investigated UFOs for the government, Project Sign issued a report in the summer of 1948 speculating that the sightings could be evidence of interplanetary or extraterrestrial craft. The memo was allegedly rejected and destroyed by Air Force brass because there was no strong evidence for its conclusions. No copies of the report have ever been retrieved to this day. Do you believe aliens exist among us? Will we discover more mysterious technologies? Tell us in the comments section.